Hi, so now my family is here. We've been enjoying the joy of getting around and shopping without a car, which is quite a challenge with two young children and getting them things for school and things. So one of the first things I've done since they've arrived is I've been off to Tesla. So I haven't actually been to the Tesla store in Aarhus here since April, when I came for a visit to see the place I'm working for the first time. And so I went and I took my daughter because she hadn't seen a Model 3 before. And our aim was to find out what's the cheapest one we can get in Denmark. Can we get a standard range, not the standard range plus, but the standard range, the basic one that I think is available in the States? And, or what is the cheapest inventory one we can get? So let's talk about that in this video. So we went to the Tesla store and we spoke to the staff there, and the upshot of it is there isn't a cheap Tesla Model 3 in Denmark. I also asked about whether it was possible to import one from Norway. People have mentioned that in the YouTube comments here before, or bring it from Germany or something like that. I'll go into what I believe the situation is there in a moment, but let's first look at the actual price in Denmark. So you can't get the standard range. Basically, it's not available, and the belief is, I believe, that it won't be available. The standard range won't be available at least for some time, so the standard range plus is the cheapest that you can get. So you're looking at there, I'm just going to look at the actual price, sort of 370,000 crowns. I'll put up the equivalents in dollars, euros and pounds, and if you add on the registration documentation, it goes up to about 374,000 Danish crowns. That's probably exactly the same as I reported last time I looked at the Tesla Model 3 in Denmark. I don't think very much has changed in terms of incentives, policy, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's still an expensive car, especially equivalent to pound sterling right now. And then if we look at other ways of getting it, so they do have some in inventory, not many. They've got two standard range plus, not the standard range plus in inventory in Denmark, or available from Denmark, so it might be elsewhere in Europe, but it hasn't been registered, so that they can register it in Denmark for the first time. One is at about 408,500 Danish crowns and has bigger wheels that I wouldn't like, and maybe some other things I don't need. And then maybe a white interior, which I'm not so keen on. And then one is a blue, so a not default color at the time. The black one is probably the original default, which is now white, as the default color for all the Model 3s, I believe, worldwide. So the blue one then is 410,500 crowns. Both have got very low mileage, kind of pre-registered, as it were. And then it goes into long range and performance and other things. So the actual inventory standard range plus are more expensive than new standard range plus. I believe the lead time is not very long on the standard range plus in Denmark, but there just isn't a cheap way to get it. Still, it was nice, my daughter and I, looking around the store and having a look at the car. She hadn't sat in it before. I hadn't sat in the back of one, I don't think, for a while, not since when I sat in maybe last August, more than a year ago, in California. I think they've changed the seats a bit. They felt very comfortable. I got my daughter's verdict on how they differed from our previous Hyundai IONIQ Electric, so I'll cut that in now. Get back there.
It doesn't slump down as much, my body's more upright, the seats are comfier, and the entire roof is glass, so yeah.
And then we enjoyed looking at, she was very taken by the screen. I think, this kind of design of cars, if this becomes more standard, this kind of iPad-like interface and software systems on these cars, younger people are just going to take to it because they've all grown up with phones and other computers and systems that are just like that. So, they'll think of cars that don't have that kind of interface. I think it's kind of antiquated and weird, and who knows what the new generations will think of cars, current cars. But yeah, then I asked about bringing it from other countries and also go into what they told me the kind of standard range was missing compared to the standard range plus in a moment, if I can remember it correctly. And I'm conveying my own impression of that and not word for word what they said. But in terms of bringing it from other countries, Norway obviously is in the European Economic Area, but not in the European Union, and shipments from the US go straight to Oslo, and I think they come in the Netherlands, maybe, Belgium, I'm not sure, to Europe. So there's all sorts of documentation problems and importing issues and extra payments and taxes and registration and things that mean it's not very easy to bring a car from Norway. Similarly, if I wanted to try and get one just over the border from Denmark to the south in Germany, apparently someone would have to be living there to buy it and register it, and then it would have to have driven a certain number of kilometers, a number of thousands of kilometers, and then there would be various things to have it tested at the border, re-registered, get Danish license plates and so on. So I think either way of trying to bring it from somewhere cheaper in sort of European Union or European Economic Area wouldn't necessarily work out, it seems. So I'm pretty much stuck with the Danish price, if that's what we actually decide to go for at some point, and stuck with buying one kind of a new order, fresh order, because the inventory is also inflated above, it's a higher price for whatever options they spec'd on it, than getting one, just plain sort of vanilla Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus. In terms of then the spec differences, apparently both the Standard Range Plus and the Standard Range, if it ever becomes available in Europe, don't have the, premium connectivity or premium communication package, which is the kind of traffic-aware maps, the Google Satellite View overlay, so you can see actual surroundings, and a few other things then with maybe music and streaming and so on. You also lose something in the Standard Range to do with the speakers. Yeah, and then the other sort of differences, which I guess they're small but they add up in the end, is there's no LED fog lights on the Standard Range, and also you get basically no autopilot. So you get dumb cruise control, no smart cruise control, no lane keeping assist, and obviously none of the kind of self-driving type features. Even if it was clear what the Standard Range would be, and I believe there is also some range loss, although Tesla don't state the capacity of the battery, so I don't know whether it's software locked and all the rest of it. But yeah, it's not really an option. The Standard Range isn't available in Europe right now. It doesn't seem to be. It's going to be available. The kind of features it would lose, I mean, I guess I wouldn't miss them, but it's not possible to buy one. So, even talking about off menu in the States, you can't do off menu in Europe, apparently. So it remains an expensive car here. It was still very lovely to sit in it. My daughter was quite taken by the Model X, although she looked quite sort of tiny in it, as I guess I would look in it as well. I've never seen myself sat in one. Yeah, great car, lovely car, but huge, very expensive. A lot of fun for my daughter to play with that. And then we sort of did a little bit of looking around the Tesla Model 3. And with the door handles, I know we're not the first to kind of comment on this, but they are really, really strange. Both the way you open it from outside, I guess, is the thing that you actually have to use the other hand from the one that's intuitive normally from standing with it. So normally with the back car, I would choose my left hand, but you have to do your right one to be able to do the kind of thumb in and then pull mechanism. And then getting out, obviously in the back, you don't have the kind of, the emergency catches, so you do it the right way. But it took me and my daughter a bit of a go again a few times.
I'm trying to open the door. That's
what you done hit the, yeah. Try it again, close it in.
Okay.
See if it gets easier the second time. Oh, right, try it again then.
That should be on the bloopers.
Yeah.
Right, okay, 3, 2, 1. What?
It's okay, try it again.
Okay.
You've got to push.
I think it's giving up on
Yeah, it's not that easy, is it?
Like, you just do this, then open it, but sometimes you...
But the thing I've found, and I'll film me trying to do it now, is that it's difficult to know where to push, isn't it? Because normally you pull, which gives you this... Normally you pull and it gives you this kind of movement, doesn't it? So you sort of go like that with the door because you pull. But here, because you do it with your thumb...
Like tucked.
It's kind of like...
my finger, okay.
Well,
3, 2, 1, push.
You've got to remember to sort of do it with your... You do it like this is the way to do it.
Yeah, that's how I did it.
Oh God,
I did it with my finger though.
Yeah, so kind of like a... It's a different arm motion. The one we're used to, you would do that motion, and in the Tesla you do that motion. I don't know if that's visible on the camera, that versus kind of like that. So just kind of retraining your muscle memory. But of course you've got to kind of bear that in mind for every person who gets in the car. And in the front there's the typical thing of, telling them not to pull the emergency catches because it fiddles with the frameless glass position and can cause some damage. And yeah, it was really nice and comfy being sat in the front and in the back. And bear in mind, I've been on buses most of the time since I've been here, or in Renault Zoes, and that one BMW 1 Series that I rented to go and pick up my family at the airport. So it was really nice to be in a Tesla Model 3. It felt really quite, luxurious, even though it was a Standard Range Plus we were sitting in, actually, showing the different, wheel configurations you could get and so on. So it was nice to see it kind of more up-to-dated. And I think I'll go back and have a test drive. There's a bit of a queue, apparently, for test drives. So, hopefully soon I'll get a test drive, maybe take the whole family this time, we'll see. At the store there are also Superchargers. They were actually very busy. It was a late evening, just as they were closing. So as people have to work, maybe charging up or going places in the evening. So that would be interesting for me because I think I would only be able to charge at very, very low rate here. It almost kind of trickle emergency charging rate from where we're renting. Tesla place is not that far away from us, but if we were using it basically as our main place to fuel up, I guess it would be quite quick, but we'd have to be aware of queues. There's not that many Teslas, I don't think, in Denmark, but if they're going to be anywhere, they're going to be there. So I'm still thinking though about other options and not costing so much money as something like a Tesla to get around. So I've been asking a lot of questions following up from last week's video where we tested the Urban Arrow family cargo bike. So the comments were really quite mixed on that. No one really said, yay, go for it. It was kind of a bit, sort of either meh or just, people highlighting various problems. We may well go for that, I think. It'd be a good option just, to be able to get my 2 kids somewhere to their school, to their kindergarten on my kind of time schedule, not just on the buses. And it's a bit easier for shopping and things because there aren't we would have Tesco food deliveries back in the UK. It doesn't seem to be any kind of food delivery system here. So it's just going, again, without a car, it's just going and carrying back however much shopping you can bring on foot or by bus. So I've been looking at other things. My son and I went in a Reiser & Müller cargo bike, I think the Paxter 60, which was on sale in downtown Aarhus. And again, definitely both of my kids would not have fitted in like that one, like the Butchers and Bicycles 3-wheeler that my daughter would barely fit in. My son thought it was great, again, as he always does, and wanted me to buy it immediately, but that was a no-no. It was good to discover Reiser & Müller, though, because their actual e-bikes generally are kind of like the Tesla of e-bikes. They're just so well engineered. Some of them have both front and rear suspension, and they do the speed pedelec ones that go faster. So I'm going to look into that. It looks like a really nice one, and some of them have got dual battery options, so they can have like 1 kilowatt hour of battery, which on a small bicycle that's about 30, 40 kilograms, that's significant battery capacity for kind of zero tailpipe, zero emissions transport around a bit further. I think some of them go up to about 140 or plus kilometers range. Quite impressive. Near the Tesla store, there's actually a store that sells mobility scooters, electric mobility scooters. And of course, these are not that far from a lot of electric car technology. They've got lithium-ion batteries. These were actually, I think, probably legally scooters or mopeds probably, and 3-wheel with bicycle things, but quite plush trim actually, and the price is not too much more than an e-cargo bike actually for this. I think some of them you're legally allowed to have 2 passengers, but you probably got to register it. The main thing seems to be they don't go up inclines very well, and I know that they're not there for people who have some sort of mobility impairment typically. But I'm really trying to be quite open-minded about other options we might have for transport. These are quite similar actually to the kind of bio-hybrid, to a Renault Twizy, to all these kind of last-mile mobility things that are under development around the world. So just interesting to see them. I don't think I'll be getting one or test driving one, but they've got like digital displays, GPS systems, some of them have got heaters, maybe some audio systems and things. It's quite cool. I mean, there are all these things are much far more advanced, like bicycles as well, because of all these developments in electrification of transport. So really, really cool to see that. I haven't got much further myself, one moment, in my own bicycle adventures, rather than just getting myself a helmet, which looks like Robocop. I'm quite happy with that, and it has a light on the back. But the only person at the moment that seems to be getting very far with bicycles in our family is my son, and he has this kind of pushing, running, ride-along kind of bike. And, we've been having a lot of fun taking him out on that, and he's really happy with it. That was using the helmet that he bought when we went on the Urban Arrow family last week, and hopefully getting our daughter a bicycle of her own very soon as well, although like everything in Denmark, they're really expensive. So that's about everything for now. We're still thinking about maybe a Tesla Model 3 when the house sale completes. We'll think about that, we'll discuss it, see what the options are, see what the pros and cons are. The price is very, very high here in Denmark. The finance is possibly something that can offset that. It's reasonably attractive rates on that, although quite a long-term loan if we want to think about taking that on. But no other option really than buying a new Standard Range Plus as the cheapest way to get it. The inventory cars are more expensive. Importing it doesn't seem to be an option. I'd really like to hear from you in the comments if you've done that and found it to be cheaper, been through the whole system and it worked out all okay, or tried to do it and it was a nightmare. Please let me know. People do keep suggesting it, so I've looked into it as far as I can for the time being. And so thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me as we try and do more test drives and things now, and bye for now.